Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Pavitra and today we are going to learn how to correct a hyponatremic dehydration. I received a lot of messages regarding the actual practical correction of a case with hyponatremic dehydration, and hence this is my attempt to teach you guys how to do it. If you find some ideas that can be improved while presentation, please feel free to let me know. And don't forget to subscribe, share among your friends so we can all learn pediatrics together. So come on, let's go and see how we can correct a hyponatremic dehydration. Let us take this example. So this is how I will be proceeding with this current lecture. So we will take a case and we will start with the basic correction calculation, and then we will add on layers to this particular patient. Okay. So we have a 3-year-old toddler with 2 days history of diarrhea, multiple episodes of diarrhea. 15 kgs was the pre-illness weight, and the mother had tried giving this child some dal water, plain water and everything, but now child is lethargic, not drinking water, not very responsive. Skin is tenting when you are examining, eye is sunken, the baby is lethargic, you are noticing. CRT is prolonged, but systolic is luckily maintained. Okay, so this child is in compensated shock, isn't it so? So, and note that this mother has given just water and dal, etc., which do not have the actual constituents required to replace the losses. So, what do you expect? You expect a hyponatremic dehydration. Using this chart to calculate dehydration, if you see, this child is definitely in severe dehydration, but without a very low blood pressure. Okay. So let us assume this child's current weight is 14 kgs. This child has lost 1 kilo. Okay. Duration of illness of just 2 days, a dehydration of 10%, and the sodium that you have measured is 120 milliequivalents. These are the things that you will require to calculate the correction for hyponatremia. We need the pre-illness weight ideally, because that is what you need to bring this child back to, because you are trying to replace what has been lost. This child has lost this 1 kilo in water, isn't it so? Suppose you do not have the pre-illness weight, which is the most common scenario in our setting. Nobody knows the pre-illness weight, isn't it so? You can reverse calculate if you know the amount of dehydration. Okay. So you can use this formula where pre-illness weight by the current weight will be equal to 100 by 100 minus percentage of dehydration. If there is no dehydration, then this child's pre-illness and current weight will be same. Okay. All right, let's proceed. So what happens in hyponatremic dehydration? You have a jar filled with water. The red is water and the black is sodium. When there is a loss, there is an isotonic loss where water and sodium together are lost. Apart from this, there is some extra sodiums also which are getting lost. So your aim should be to replace the water plus sodium that has gone together and this extra sodium that has gone alone. Hence, what is remaining is a hyponatremic dehydration. So you have a solute fluid deficit. You have extra sodium deficit. You have potassium also that is being lost. I have not represented it in this picture. So you will need to construct a table similar to this, okay? Because you need to replace fluids, you need to replace sodium, you need to replace potassium, okay? So these are lost as solute fluid deficit, extra sodium deficit. These two are what the child has already lost, okay? Apart from that, you will have to replace the child's ongoing losses. After the child has come to you, how many episodes of vomiting or diarrhea, you will need to replace them. Plus, what the child requires on a daily basis, that is your maintenance fluid, that also needs to be given. So you can calculate all of these together and find the ideal fluid this child will require for correction of hyponatremia plus maintenance. So let us see. First, we will start with solute fluid deficit. So here solute fluid, both are lost. First, we will calculate how much fluid is lost in this child. So the fluid lost is your percentage of dehydration. Here it is 10% dehydration in this child. 1% dehydration is equal to 10 ml per kilo of fluid loss. So if it is 10% dehydration, it will be 10 into 10 into 15, which is the weight, which will be equal to 1500 ml. So shall we enter it in our table? Yes. So the among the solute fluid deficit, the fluid part is 1500 ml. What is the sodium and potassium deficit now? So what are the solutes that are lost in this fluid? In a diarrhea, the sodium loss will be approximately 8 to 10 milliequivalents per 100 ml of fluid deficit. So here there is 1500 ml loss. So if it is 1500 ml, how much is the sodium? It is 120 milliequivalents. I have taken 8. What about potassium? Potassium 6 milliequivalents will be lost per 100 ml of fluid deficit. So the potassium lost is 90 milliequivalents. So shall we enter this in our table? Yes. So now in 1500 ml of fluid, 120 sodium and 90 milliequivalents potassium has been lost. Next, what should you calculate? You need to calculate this extra sodium that has run out of the body. So to calculate that, this is the formula that is used. Weight into percentage from extracellular fluid compartment. You are taking ECF because that is the compartment sodium is maximum present into expected minus current sodium. See, this expected minus current sodium, ideally you expect to correct the sodium to 130 milliequivalents. You generally don't correct it to 135 or 145. You try to maintain it at the lower limit because the body's mechanism is also going to jump into correct the deficit. In that case, you don't want over correction of sodium happening. Hence the lower limit. So expected generally we keep at 130 to 135, not beyond that. Percentage of ECF compartment. This is important because this depends on the day of illness. Suppose illness is of 3 days duration, then the sodium loss will be 80% from extracellular fluid compartment. If the illness is more than 3 days duration, 60% will be from the ECF compartment. If it is a chronic loss, it can even be 50% from ECF compartment because the compartments try to support each other. We will see what happens in this case. So you have 15 into 0.8 because the duration of illness was only 2 days into 130 minus 120, which is the current sodium. You get 120 milliequivalents of sodium altogether. So you have this extra sodium of 120 milliequivalents. All right. Next, what do we need to calculate? You need to calculate the maintenance fluids. So what is the maintenance fluid? This we all know. This is the Holiday-Segar formula. And in this child who's weighing 15 kgs, it will be 1250 ml. Right. We entered that also in our table. Is this enough? Are we complete? No. You still need to calculate your sodium and potassium deficit. Or, it's not deficit, it is maintenance. Normal requirement for a child. So what is the normal sodium requirement? It will be 3 milliequivalents per 100 ml of maintenance fluid. So for 1250 ml of maintenance, you require 37.5 milliequivalents of sodium. Potassium will be 2 milliequivalents per 100 ml of maintenance fluid. So here this child will require 25 milliequivalents of potassium. So for maintenance, you have 37.5 sodium and 25 milliequivalents of potassium in a 1250 ml maintenance. So altogether in total, this child requires a fluid of 2750 ml with a sodium of 277 approximately and 115 of potassium. All right. How long do you need to give this? Since the difference is only 10, your aim will be to correct the sodium not more than 10 to 12 milliequivalents per 24 hours. This child's sodium is only 120 and you are planning to correct it only to 130. So you should be fine to give this overall fluid in a 24-hour period. But what fluid will you choose? For that, you need to know what content should be there in a 1000 ml. So if 2750 has 277 of sodium and 115 of potassium, 1000 ml of fluid will have 100 milliequivalents of sodium and 42 milliequivalents of potassium. Okay. So to choose the fluid, you need to know at least what fluid and the concentration of solutes available in fluid in your hospital. This is a standard table that is given in most of your textbooks. This I have taken from Harriet Lane. The fluids that you need to remember are your normal salines, different normal salines. Okay, your normal saline will have 154 of sodium. Half will have half of 154, 77. Quarter will have quarter of 154, which is 38.5. Isn't it so? Another fluid that you will need to remember will be your 3% normal saline. I will tell you why we need this later on. Just remember it has 513 milliequivalents. All of these are for a liter of fluid. Remember that. Okay, this is not for 500 ml, not for 100 ml. The concentration is 154 milliequivalents per liter. It will be the same in 100 ml of fluid. It will be the same in 500 ml of fluid. It will be the same in 1 liter of fluid. The concentration will remain same. The absolute amount will vary depending upon whatever amount of fluid you choose. The last fluid that you will need to remember is, I am sorry, this was supposed to end in lactated ringers. Okay, so the ringer lactate will have 130 milliequivalents of sodium. Note that this also has potassium in it. Okay, 4 milliequivalents of potassium. Okay, so we know all these fluids. So what fluid will you choose for this child? This child requires 1000 ml of fluid with 100 milliequivalents of sodium and 42 milliequivalents of potassium. So if you see this, 77 is the closest that you can find to the 100 milliequivalents, isn't it? So this is approximately 80 milliequivalents. The other ones are either too high or too low. So there's no ready-made fluid. You have only an approximate fluid, which is half NS. But is that enough? No, this is still not meeting your requirements of 100 milliequivalents of sodium, isn't it? So what can you do? You should add sodium. How are you going to add sodium? You will add sodium with 3% saline. What did we see in 3% saline? It had 513 milliequivalents per liter of fluid. Or to put it simply, 1 ml has 0.5 milliequivalents of sodium. Okay. If you want to add, how much are you going to add? You need approximately 20 milliequivalents because half normal saline has 77 milliequivalents. So let us take it as 80 for ease of mathematics. Okay, at least I am very poor in maths. Sorry to maths geniuses out there. Right. So I want to increase it by around 20 milliequivalents to bring it closer to 100. So if I want 20 milliequivalents of sodium from 3% saline, I will need to add 40 ml, isn't it so? Because 1 ml has 0.5 milliequivalents. If I add that, I will get approximately 100 milliequivalents of sodium. Potassium, you will add potassium chloride. So I don't need to teach that. So you have your fluid. You have chosen your fluid of half DNS with 40 ml of 3% saline added and 40 milliequivalents of potassium added. You're going to give it at what rate? 114 ml per hour. You got that by dividing the total fluids divided by 24. So if you do that and you closely monitor every 4 to 6 hours, you will know whether to increase or decrease the rate and you will manage the child accordingly. Okay, clear? So this is a very straightforward correction without any extra fittings. But that is not how you get cases on a day-to-day basis, isn't it? So some children will come fitting, some children will come in complete shock, some children will come with very low sodium or in multiple combinations of these. Isn't it so? So these are the variations that are possible and very much that we see on a day-to-day basis. They can present with seizures. They can present with shock. They can present with prolonged illness, 4 or 5 days. They can present with a lower sodium value. Longer duration, it will be the calculation will be almost similar except for the percentage of ECF, extracellular fluid. Okay, so it will be 0.6. The correction will be for 0.6 instead of 0.8. So let us talk about acute symptomatic. This is the same table that we calculated for the previous case. I have not changed anything. It is the same child, but now this child is presenting with seizures to you. Okay. Seizures, altered sensorium, irritability, whatever you want to take it as, neurological manifestations. So what do you want to do? You want to give 3% saline. Why do you want to give 3% saline? Because you want to rapidly increase the sodium by 3 to at least 5 milliequivalents so that this child stops having a seizure. Okay. So you have given 3% saline. Say 4 ml per kg of 3% saline you have given. Okay. Weight is 15. 15 into 4 will be approximately 60 ml of 3% saline you have given, which is 30 milliequivalents. You generally give it over 4 hours. Okay. For ideal correction. So why is this important? I have given now. Why do you want to touch upon this, madam? No, don't ask. The reason is you need to deduct this fluid, you need to deduct this sodium from your final correction. Okay. So 3% saline you have given, 60 ml and 30 milliequivalents of sodium you have given. So reduce them or deduct them from your total. So you end up with 2690 ml, 247 of sodium deficit. Potassium is not going to change because there is no potassium in this equation. So we will see why 3% saline is given before going to the final summary. Okay. So 1 ml per kg of 3% saline will raise the serum sodium by 1 milliequivalent. You need to raise it to approximately 5 milliequivalents is what we saw. Okay. How did this 3 to 5 ml per kg come as a formula? You need to know that. See, this is the same as extra sodium deficit, isn't it? So you want to correct at least 5 milliequivalents of the deficit in this child. So if you put that in formula, what happens? Sodium deficit into weight into ECF volume. You have sodium deficit of 5. You want to correct just 5 milliequivalents, not the whole thing. Weight is 15. ECF volume for calculation I've taken as 0.6. Okay. So 27 milliequivalents of sodium will be required to correct this sodium deficit. So for 27 milliequivalents of sodium from 3% saline, you need approximately 54 ml, which will come to 3.6 ml per kg. That is why you have a formula of 3 to 5 ml per kg. You can't sit and calculate every time weight into sodium deficit into ECF volume. 3 to 5 ml per kg, I think any school children will do this calculation. Isn't it so? All right. So what fluid are you going to choose? You have approximately a 2700 ml fluid with 250 milliequivalents of sodium and 115 of potassium. So with that, in 1000 ml, you expect there to be a 92 of sodium and 40 of potassium. Which fluid will you choose? It will again be half normal saline, okay, which has 77 milliequivalents. But you will add some amount of 3% saline to raise it to 92 milliequivalents. You will add approximately 20 ml. Okay. Am I doing this correctly? Let me think. I think the ml is wrong here, isn't it so? Because half normal saline has 77, approximately 80. I just need to add 10 milliequivalents. No, the calculation is correct. Sorry, as I told you guys, I'm not very strong in maths. Okay, fine. So we just needed to raise the concentration by 10 milliequivalents in half normal saline. Bus. So you will give this at a rate of 112.5 ml per hour, which is again over 24 hours. Because sodium, nothing has changed except that this child has presented symptomatically. Suppose this child is presenting with shock. This is the same as the first table that I have taken. Okay, first case ka table. You will give a fluid bolus. Say in this child, I have given a fluid bolus of 20 ml per kilos. So 20 into 15 will be 300 ml of normal saline. How much will normal saline contain? 1 liter has 154 milliequivalents of sodium. So 300 ml will have 46.2 milliequivalents of sodium in it. What do you need to do? You will again need to reduce or minus this 300 ml and this 46 milliequivalents from your final calculation. So you will end up with a total of something like this. What will be your fluid choice? For 1000 ml of fluid, you want 94 milliequivalents of sodium. This is very similar to what you saw earlier, isn't it so? Half DNS plus some amount of 3% saline plus some amount of potassium in it. Suppose for a lower sodium, what do you need to do? Same child with 110 milliequivalents, nothing else, no symptoms, nothing, no bolus, nothing. Just 110 milliequivalents we will take and calculate. Correction will be spread over 48 hours. That is the first thing you need to know. Because over 24 hours, only 10 milliequivalents you can correct. If you correct 10 milliequivalents, this 110 is going to become only 120. Isn't it so? You need another 24 hours to bring this to 130, which will be your final target. So over 48 hours, you need to correct. How are you going to calculate? What is the difference that is going to be there in this case? That will be the extra sodium deficit. Okay. So this extra sodium is more in this patient because child is still only 10% dehydrated according to calculation. How are you going to calculate extra sodium? 0.6 into 15 into 130 minus 110. Here I have taken 0.6 because I feel this child would have had a longer duration of illness to lose this extra sodium. So you end up with 300. See how it is changing. If a sodium of 120, you had a 120 of sodium deficit or extra sodium deficit. Just 10 milliequivalents, if it is lost from the child, the sodium deficit actually is 300. Correct? All right. So maintenance, next what are you going to do? You are going to do it as a correction for 48 hours. So double the maintenance. Okay, 2500 ml. Double the sodium maintenance will be 75. Double the potassium maintenance will be 50. Because you are going to give it over 48 hours. Per day, 24-hour requirement will still be same. Add everything together. For 48 hours, you are going to give this child 4000 ml with approximately 500 milliequivalents of sodium and 140 milliequivalents of potassium. What will be there in a 1000 ml fluid? Because you need to select your fluid. It has approximately 123 milliequivalents of sodium and 35 milliequivalents of potassium. The ideal fluid or the closest fluid that you can get will be your RL, lactated drinker. Note that this also has potassium in it. So RL with 130 milliequivalents of sodium and 4 milliequivalents of potassium. Extra 30 milliequivalents of potassium you need to add because you want a total of 35 milliequivalents of potassium. Isn't it so? Okay. So you are going to give this at a rate of 4000 divided by 48, which will be 83 ml per hour. Can you notice how the fluid rate changes as the presentation changes, as the symptoms changes in the child? All right. So this is very, very important for you guys to know, because with each presentation your calculation varies and this child will not be as straightforward as I have shown in these examples. These are just examples, that's all. This same child can come with 3 days illness with 110 of sodium, in shock with symptoms. So you need to put all of these together to get your final fluid and to give to the child appropriately with close monitoring. Okay. Sorry. So now we have taken care of the past. We have replaced the deficit. You are giving what the child requires on a daily basis as maintenance. What about ongoing loss? This child is still continuing to lose fluid in your hospital. Okay, so it has to be replaced ml by ml. If you are able to measure the diaper of the child, then well and good. You know how much this child is losing in stools. You can replace the same amount. If not, at least per diarrhea, give 10 ml per kilo of fluid, and per emesis, 2 ml per kilo of fluid. Choice of fluid for diarrhea, it will be half DNS with added sodium bicarbonate and potassium. For vomitus, it will be half normal saline plus 10 to 15 milliequivalents of potassium. There's no need for sodium bicarbonate here. Okay. So if you put it all together, you will do deficit therapy with calculation for solute fluid deficit and extra sodium. You will give maintenance. You will give replacement for the ongoing losses. You will remember to subtract whatever fluids you have given as symptomatic management and shock management. You will make sure to monitor closely so that the daily correction does not exceed 10 to 12 milliequivalents per 24 hours. I hope I have made this topic easier for you guys to calculate for a case who is coming with hyponatremic dehydration. If you have any more queries, please message me or make sure you can comment down in the comment box below. And thank you guys for your patient listening. What else can I say? I'm just happy to learn with you guys. Thank you all.